Who benefits from the diplomatic and economic damage that South Africa is doing to itself right now with this anti-immigrant rhetoric?
See, this government is making cock now. I mean, to chase all the foreigners, they chase all the foreigners away now, and South Africans is fucking lazy to work. So what must we do, huh?
Welcome back. So for those of you that are unaware, this is my backup account. Unfortunately, I have been engaged in an active and ongoing toxic and abusive relationship with TikTok. For those of you new to my...
An important component of anti-immigrant sentiment in South Africa recently, particularly in the protests that we saw yesterday, is the role of religion, specifically the role of Christianity. We see this emerge, for example, here in Jacinta Zuma's prayer before the protests started. This prayer for protection not just of her, but of all South Africa, protection against the enemy's attacks. And in some sense, a resolute affirmation that...
Welcome back again to the channel. Happy new month. Welcome to the 1st of July 2026. So today, guys, still on the matter of South Africa and foreigners. We all know yesterday South Africa did a march-on-march protest, and you guys saw the videos of how everything went down. And guys, today the white South Africans have expressed their regrets, and also they said they're ashamed of Jacinta and her crew, and they're asking questions like, what is the result of this march-on-march protest that you guys did yesterday, being the 30th of June? What has the result yielded? Has any foreigners gone? What they did was to cause panic in the country. And according to these white South Africans, they said they saw videos of, black South Africans looting foreigner stores, Ethiopians, Somalians, Nigerians, Ghanaians, looting their stores, and they asked this question, Jacinta, is this what you stand for? Is this the reason why you guys, came out to protest for this June 30th? Because according to them, they said there is nothing reasonable that they have achieved from this 30th of June protest. Let's take a look at some of the videos, then I'll be right back. Please kindly share the video, like the video, and please subscribe to the channel.
Who benefits from the diplomatic and economic damage that South Africa is doing to itself right now with this anti-immigrant rhetoric? Who benefits from South Africa being completely isolated, with no allies, nobody around them, no other African countries willing to step in and help and support them when the people who benefit show up and go, "Ooh, we told you they couldn't govern themselves. Look at what they've done. We'll have to take power and control now and make sure that they never get to, rule or govern themselves again, because they obviously can't." And there's nobody to step in and stop it. Who benefits from that? That is the conversation that so many people are missing and we need to be having. Yeah, the economic impact is estimated to be in the billions of rands, and it's already happening, not just from tourism, but, business and diplomatic relationships with other countries, and certain other countries no longer letting South African trucks and South African goods cross the border. And I only recently learned that Botswana provides a lot of electricity to South Africa, and so who knows what could happen with things like that. And Canada has a travel advisory against South Africa, and there's a whole list that they give of all the reasons why. And one of them is, how did they word it? Civil unrest, protests breaking out leading to xenophobic attacks. That's how they have labeled it. And so, like African tourism, international tourism, business, diplomatic and business relationships with other African countries. Oh, it's a mess. And that's one of the things that people are just ignoring and looking over is, they're talking about, well, it's just about the illegal immigrants and they must be legally in the country. We want them to not be illegal. It's the illegal part that's the problem. We want them to stop doing illegal things. It's fucking illegal to ask someone in South Africa for their papers unless you work for Home Affairs or the Department of Defense and the like. But that kind of illegal apparently is fine.
See, this government is making cock now. I mean, to chase all the foreigners, they chase all the foreigners away now, and South Africans is fucking lazy to work. So what must we do, huh? Tell us now, what must we do? Give us a solution. If you can give us a solution, then we can take it from there.
Where do we go? Where do we go as South Africans? This is a message to the foreign voices and the South African voices which are growing who disagree with my factual statement that the illegal foreign invasion into this country is unacceptable and unsustainable. Where do we go? You see, South Africa is in a very unique position. We punch above our weight politically. We punch above our weight economically. We punch above our weight from a sporting perspective. However, to the so-called first world countries, and every South African, every sincere South African will agree with me, our passport is useless. If this country goes bust, we've got nowhere to go. On the other side of the coin, you have the so-called third world countries, be it in Africa and Asia, wherever, you know. They view us, because they're coming from failed states, so they view us as an oasis. So you're having a clash, and it's a clash coming at a point where there's political instability globally. Living costs are skyrocketing. And when living costs skyrocket, the fight for resources becomes intense. And then it matters whose land it is. Right. Now, your response to me could be, and I've had this response to me, it's not directly impacting you. You know, you have a business or you're employed or whatever it is that I do. The illegal foreign invasion does not directly impact you, and you're wrong. And the reason you're wrong is I'm not short-sighted. I'm not somebody who occupies myself and lives in a bubble. I understand that the success of my business and other South African businesses is incumbent and reliant on the country not being a failed state, on the country functioning, on the economy functioning, on the resources going where it's supposed to go. Because if that happens, South Africans have finances, they have money, and my business and other South African businesses will be successful. So there's absolutely no way I will put any country above my country, because I am well aware, and every sincere South African, they will admit this, maybe not publicly, but in their quiet moments, that we have absolutely nowhere to go.
An important component of anti-immigrant sentiment in South Africa recently, particularly in the protests that we saw yesterday, is the role of religion, specifically the role of Christianity. We see this emerge, for example, here in Jacinta Zuma's prayer before the protests started. This prayer for protection, not just of her, but of all South Africa, protection against the enemy's attacks. And in some sense, a resolute affirmation that God is on the side of those who are participating in yesterday's marches and in the enduring marches that I think are to come. There's something important to tease out here, noting Christianity's relationship to power, noting Christianity's relationship to the construction of the nation state, specifically as we know as an experience it here in South Africa today, and in particular the role of Christianity in creating anti-blackness. If we can tease out these different components, we can begin to see how the schematic of colonial histories is repeated through prayers like what Jacinta posted here. It's important to begin by noting that Christianity has this deeply embedded relationship with colonialism. And though it has been used at times as a force against oppression, it has been deeply interwoven into processes of creating oppression. And there is this difficult work that needs to emerge in the wake of Christian civilization and the processes of European colonization, of teasing out the ways in which Christianity continues to preserve historic legacies of creating us and them, historic legacies of creating discourses, power, narratives, imaginaries of how we can think about the world, imaginaries of human identity, all of these different things, how these are constructed through Christian logics that are uncritically shared, uncritically reproduced. And I think this prayer is a very good example of uncritically reproducing a Christian logic that was fundamentally designed to create in-groups and out-groups, that's fundamentally infused into a kind of politics that is deeply racialized, deeply othering, and ultimately creates zones of being, zones of humanness, through the exclusion and non-being of those on the outside of it. The exact way that this pans out in this specific prayer, I think, is quite overt. There is this placing of those who are the insiders, those who are going to be protesting against illegal immigration, as those who are on God's side, those that God is going to protect and that God is going to enable to do their work. And at the same time, there is this component of the prayer that positions anyone on the outside of that as somehow a reflection of the enemy, somehow entangled with the work of some evil, nebulous thing. There's this creation very clearly of those on the outside of the protest, those on the outside of what Jacinta believes to be right and to be true, as fueling and forming weapons against her and against March and March that are not of God. This kind of logic, this kind of schematic is the exact same as what we see within colonial histories and what we see from colonial missionaries. And it positions us within a particular place as a nation to understand that the nation state that we live in now as well is also somehow God ordained, because it relies on, in some fundamental ways, a few assumptions, this prayer. One is that those on the inside of this protest have the right understanding of national borders, national boundaries, who can be considered a citizen. The way that we understand citizenship right now, the way that we construct nations and borders right now, is fundamentally shaped by colonial histories, which are fundamentally shaped by boundaries that were created through zones of being and non-being, through Christianity, through relationship to Christianity's civilizing work, civilizing impetus. The creation of the world as we know it now, and the insider-outsider groups that we know now, cannot be divorced from this history. And so this presumes that God ordains this history, that in some ways God is okay with this history because it has produced the world we live in now, and that God is going to give victory to those who want to continue to entrench this kind of way of seeing the world, which is in some way an entrenchment of colonial Christianity, an entrenchment of colonial histories and imaginaries of what it is to be a nation under God, to be a nation in partnership with God. I think this points back to the fundamental component I raised earlier, which is the idea of how we deal with living in an anti-black world and an anti-black society. I think there is a deeper work that needs to happen, that needs to go into that sort of fundamental strata of South African assumptions in society. The way that we construct not just South Africa, but the world needs to be more deeply interrogated. If we want to see true liberation for all people in South Africa, I do not think it will ever come through repeating the schematic of the colonizer, which is to essentially deny the humanity of one group in order to try and produce the humanity of another. The expulsion and the harm towards illegal immigrants will be the way in which black South Africans gain access to resources, access to South African society. In many ways, it has been debunked that that will even be achieved if all illegal immigrants leave. But there is a deeper, more fundamental conversation that needs to be had about how things like Christianity, things like how we understand national identity, and things like how we've constructed our politics and how we've constructed what it is to be human rely on these kind of violent and dangerous and harmful histories.
Guys, from those videos you just watched right now, you could literally see that some of those white South Africans that most of you think, oh, they'll be the oppressors in South Africa, are now the one against the anti-immigration protests that they did in South Africa. According to these people, they said they are not in support because they've been seeing videos, and when you ask an average South African, or when you show them these particular videos, they will tell you that this videos of last year. Most of them even tell that these videos are AI generated videos, but these are live footage from the protests. Protesters looting foreigner stores, protesters looting foreigner stores. And you ask questions, is this the reason why they did that protest? Because most of those people, when you ask them, they don't work. Even the leaders of this march on march protest, they do not work. Filek and Nguzo, they don't work. It was Nguzo that went to court the other day, and they asked him why is he not with his lawyer. He said he doesn't have a lawyer because he doesn't work and he cannot afford to get one. So most of those people, they don't work. All they wait for is this protest so that they can loot and keep looting. Is this how you guys are doing it over there in South Africa? Africa is actually working. Africa is actually watching. Don't think they're not watching. History is about to repeat itself in South Africa. The more you guys keep chasing away immigrants from your country, I don't know how your country is going to look like, because right now a lot of people have, departed from South Africa. And most South Africans are already complaining that foreigners should go open their stores. Some of them are even complaining of no jobs. The supermarkets or the stores in South Africa are being owned by South Africans. There is nobody working for them anymore, because the people that are working there are from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Ghana, Malawi, Somali, Ethiopia. Most of the stores are being owned by them, or some of them are working in those companies. And now they are looking for ways to employ more people. South Africans are not applying. Instead, all they do is storm the streets, loot people's businesses. I am not in any way saying do not protest. I am totally in support of chasing away illegal immigrants. No country would want any illegal immigrants in their country, because illegal immigrant they causes nuisance in a particular country. But how are you going about it? You are chasing away illegal immigrants, but you are looting businesses of people that are residing legally in that country. Make it make sense to me. Please kindly like this video, share this video, and please subscribe to the channel for more.